Hello, I'm Leticia Huerta, artist of the Bloom Projects. I am a San Antonio native. I received my BFA in painting here at UTSA and my MFA in Dallas at SMU. And while I was at SMU, I also interned at the Dallas Office of Cultural Affairs, where I was introduced to public art. The first public art project that I worked on there in Dallas was with the Dallas Rapid Transit System at 3 of their light rail stations on their starter line in the early 1990s. It was my first experience working in public art and working with a design team and meeting with the community to gather information that would inform our design process, much as we're doing today. In Dallas, I was working also as a studio artist, exhibiting locally around the state and in the US as well, while continuing to work still for DART and the public art projects there. I moved back home in 1999 and began working on projects here in San Antonio while also teaching at UTSA, at SAC, Incarnate Word. I did that for a few years. So some of my projects here in town include the Woodlawn Lake Project, the UTSA Downtown Project, and University Hospital, and Robert B. Greene, the Downtown Clinic. I also worked on projects throughout Texas, California, North Carolina, and Arizona. And if you want to check out some of my projects, please visit my website. It's just my name, leticiahuerta.com. So the Bloom series began a few years ago when I was selected to work on the project at Mud Creek Trail, which is within McAllister Park. It's a hike and bike trail. And as we went in for the site visit and walked around the trail, I was immediately struck by the beauty of the wildflowers. And so I knew that my concept for this project had to be about them. And so eventually the design became about the wildflowers and bicycles, or the bicycle parts that also to me have an organic feel, in that they have circular parts and kind of resemble flowers. So I synthesized the two into the design that you see at Mud Creek in McAllister Park. If you haven't seen them, I think they're on this presentation. So the sculptures also serve as a wayfinding element, in that they guide you to the entrance of the trailhead. And the stems on these sculptures have text and lines that tell you about flooding in the area, and which is very important because it is in a floodplain. So my goal overall as a public artist is to create meaningful and inspiring work in spaces that are visited by people for many different types of reasons. Some are transit stations, so you're there briefly, parks, hospitals, schools, or bridges. Each project is different and is inspired by the community, the culture, the environment, the history. The materials vary within each project because of its location or whatever it happens to be, like a bridge or a wall or whatever it is. And in this project, in the Bloom series, I continue to use all of the knowledge and experience that I have in public art, and I will continue to use the wildflower and the bicycle as my inspiration for the projects. And I look forward to reading your comments or hearing your comments to guide me in the design of these new sculptures. Thank you so much.
So we're going to be talking about flowers, and it's raining out. So hopefully it helps all the flowers bloom, including our public art flowers. So I just want to say hi, everybody. I'm Councilman John Courage, and I proudly serve as your councilman in District 9. And I'd like to thank you for joining the Department of Arts and Culture's virtual community engagement about the public art sculpture project that will be located in Virgil T. Blossom Park. Public art is a way of expressing the vitality, the culture, and the aspirations of our community. It's an investment to be enjoyed by all, which is why our public art has been displayed in locations and venues around the city, from downtown to Comanche Hill, now to Blossom Park. What a better way to kick off summer 22 by helping to plant new public art here in District 9. Today, we're going to be discussing the Blossom Park features as an addition to the Bloom Public Art Series. Bloom started in 2019 at nearby McAllister Park. Designed by local artist Leticia Huerta, these whimsical, oversized flower sculptures have sprouted up citywide. It wasn't too long ago, I was out at Eisenhower Park, and they were presenting some beautiful blooms that had been developed in that park. Now, in order to better grow this program, we need your help, particularly tonight, to pick 2 flowers you would most like to see take root here at Blossom Park. Now, remember, these will be planted for the enjoyment of your District 9 neighbors for years to come. So we appreciate your feedback tonight and through the survey found on SA Speak Up. Okay, now I guess I'll hand it back to the Department of Arts and Culture to tell us more about this project.
Thank you so much, Councilman, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight for this presentation and survey opportunity. Links to the survey will be posted in the chat, and this presentation will be made available following the event. Can we please go to slide 3? Throughout tonight's presentation, you can send questions directly to the Department of Arts and Culture by clicking on the chat icon at the bottom of your screen. To submit questions, please use chat and make sure to scroll down to everyone so that we can all see your question to respond. We will do our best to respond to your questions before the end of this meeting. If we do not address your questions at this time, we will follow up afterwards. Please note that this is going to be part of public record, including the chat, and it's open to everyone. And so we ask that you use the SA Speak Up guiding principles for conversation that is meaningful, transparent, respectful, and inclusive, and that you refrain from using profanity. At the end of this meeting, we will have a discussion portion. Slide number 4, please. So during this presentation, we will look at our public art process, provide an overview of the Bloom series, provide a project overview, look at the proposed flowers, the project schedule, and then we will get to that Q&A discussion portion. Slide number 5, please. So before we begin, we would like to ask, what is public art? For those of you who don't know, the Department of Arts and Culture defines public art as art in a public place that has been through a public engagement process to determine 3 things: where the art will be placed, who will be the artist, and what will be the inspiration and themes for the art. It is developed by artists and is unique, not mass-produced. It is approved by our San Antonio Arts Commission and our Public Art Committee, and it is managed by a Department of Arts and Culture project manager like myself, and it is usually paid for with public funds. And these funds come from the 1% allocated from the Transportation and Capital Improvement Funds that are then used to implement public art projects according to our plan. And we are currently developing projects for our 2017-2022 bond program, but please keep an eye out because we're about to start engagement for the new 2022 bonds, and we hope to see you all there. Slide number 6, please. So as you can see, we have a very extensive process, and every public art project that our department manages goes through an extensive process where we check in with the community and different stakeholders. And as you can see, the community and stakeholders you here are the biggest part of our process. We cannot create our projects without you, and we really appreciate you, your support, and being here tonight. You can see 3 phases that are highlighted in red, and these are places where we must gain approval from our San Antonio Arts Commission and Public Art Committees. And you can see in the second box, the flower icon, that is where we are today, looking at the artwork theme and inspiration, with the theme for this project being what type of flower you would like to see. And we really need your help picking which 2 flowers we will have at Blossom Park to help make this Bloom series grow. Slide 7, please. So here we are looking at the Bloom series map along with some of the linear creekways systems. So this project was originally began at McAllister Park, and there was a strategy for growing this series into a system-wide concept, and that was presented and approved by our Public Art Committee and Art Commission in June of 2019. Here you can see the full map for all of the present and future Bloom locations. The blue highlighted locations indicate that the project was complete. The white are soon to be complete, and then today on the pink section, the 8th iteration of Bloom, we are seeing where we will install the 2 new Bloom flowers, and that will be constructed within the trail at Blossom Park. So for each of these projects, we visit with the community for input on the location, asking which flowers you would like to see planted in your neighborhood, and that's exactly what we are going to do today. Slide number 8, please. So to give an overview of the Bloom Public Art Series, you can see here the very first Bloom that was completed in January of 2019 at Mud Creek at McAllister Park. And again, as a reminder, this project here at Blossom Park is going to be the 8th location, and it's going to feature flowers 18 and 19 of the series. And the concept and design of this public art project is the use of oversized metal flowers that are inspired by oversized bicycle parts. It is a collection of wildflowers and bikes that can be found sprinkled throughout San Antonio's linear creekways, systems, and parks. And if you could click that slide, there's an animation showing the original flower that was inspired for the project. So the pink flower, we have the pink evening primrose, and the yellow flower, we have the Plains Corpus. And you can see that these are native flora that inspired the sculpture's design. And as part of our process, we selected these flowers through our Essay Speak Up engagement, which is exactly what we're doing today to look for the blooms that will be at Blossom Park. Slide number 9. So to give an overview of Blossom Park, you can see Blossom Park indicated with the flower, and you can see a zoom in of the park. And this is part of that 2017 bond project. It comes from the drainage proposition, and it is part of a public works project. It is in the Shady Oaks neighborhood and located very close to Bradley Middle School. And Public Works is doing some trail work in this area that is estimated to be completed in fall, winter of this year. And nearby will be future Salado Creek Greenway trails connecting the area to previously established trails in McAllister Park. Slide 10, please. Here you can see a map of that trail system. And again, you can see with the flower indicated the location of both of the Bloom sculptures. So the goal of this is to design, fabricate, and install these Bloom flowers, connecting with that future nearby Salado Creek Greenway trails. And we are looking at where we can sprout these flowers up. Slide 11. So here you can see some of the previously suggested flowers. You can see at the bottom left-hand corner, the pink evening primrose, and that is found at McAllister Park. Towards the middle of the screen is a pink and yellow flower, and that is the lantana, which is located at the Riverwalk. Above that is the antelope horn milkweed, which is located at Eisenhower. In the bottom right-hand corner is a yellow flower, the four-nerve daisy, which is located at Farias Park. And then in the upper right-hand corner is the mealy blue sage, located at Southside Lions Park. So there are a couple other flowers here that I didn't mention, but as you can see, we have a great collection to the flowers so far. And this just gives you a little bit of a glimpse of some of those other flowers that have been created. Slide 12, please. We are looking to grow the series by planting 2 more flowers, and here you can see the proposed flowers. These are flowers that are native to Texas and have not been previously created in other locations. On the top left, we have the Texas Thistle. On the top right, we have the firewheel, or the Indian blanket. On the bottom left, we have the prairie celestial, and then on the bottom right, we have the crossvine. And so these are the flowers that we're looking at today, and the accompanying survey that we have will be for you to identify which of these 4 flowers you like the most. On slide 13, we can look at the timeline for Blossom Park. So we began the project research and scoping in May of this year. We are doing our community engagement in June of 2022, and we are looking at having our artwork final design complete in the fall and winter of 2022. That is the same time that Public Works will finalize their trail, and looking at having the fabrication complete in winter, spring of 2023, and the artwork installation and dedication in spring, summer of 2023. Next slide, slide 14. Here we have the discussion questions for Bloom at Blossom Park. And now that I've presented this, I do hope that we've planted some creative seeds in your mind on what type of flowers you'd like to see. And some of the questions that I would like you to consider are: what 2 flowers are you most drawn to? What part of the public art series do you most enjoy? How important are native flowers to you? And is there anything else that we should know? And again, the 4 options that we're looking at is the Texas Thistle, the firewheel, the prairie celestial, and the crossvine. So we will leave this slide up and give it a little bit of time for people to start inputting their questions.
Should some of these questions go through the chat? I wasn't quite sure.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. So if you are using your computer, there is a chat function at the bottom that you can type your question in directly. And again, if you can do it to everyone, then we can all see your question. And if you are called in on the phone like me, you will be able to hear the questions that people are presenting.
So one comment that has just come in is somebody mentioned that they really like the prairie celestial flower.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. I think that that is a very interesting and unique flower. And as you could see in the previous slide, there was not that many blue flowers that have been done before. So that is very exciting, and I agree with you.
Another comment received that also has a question embedded in it is they shared that they would like to see a lot of color and exuberance. Their favorite is the crossvine, and then their question is if you could tell them, clarify how big we'd expect these flowers to be, these sculptures.
Yes, thank you. And I agree. I think that the crossvine is a very interesting flower, and I think that all of these choices will bring in a lot of color, a lot of joy and vibrance and exuberance. And on average, the heights of these flowers do range between 14 and 15 feet, depending on how tall the flower is. So for example, the Texas Thistle would be taller than the crossvine, just how that flower is composed.
Another comment, somebody shared that their favorites are the firewheel and also the prairie celestial.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. I think that those are very great together.
And there's more coming in. I'm just catching up as one person. So a question that was received, how well are the current flowers we have installed now withstanding the elements? So I think, you know, how are the blooms holding up out in the weather since they're outdoor sculptures?
That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. So the original bloom was placed in Mud Creek in McAllister Park, and that is in a flood zone. And so that was engineered and designed to withstand flood elements and really uphold the harsh Texas environment that can happen throughout the different seasons. And so they have really been designed and engineered to withstand well, and they have been holding up. Thank you.
Another comment that was received is the Texas Thistle seems like it would be a unique addition to the bloom series and would be different from most of the other flowers that are composed of mostly petals.
Thank you for that. And I'm glad that you noticed that in the other flower examples that we showed. We were trying to think about, you know, how the series has progressed and come along, what different native flowers could be proposed, and if there was something different and unique that could make this area really stick out within the series. So thank you very much for pointing that out.
Another question is, as the question reads, is every flower different at each location?
That is another great question. Thank you. And yes, I believe that there was one repeat of the evening primrose that is located at McAllister Park, and it is also located at Southside Lions. And with the exception of that, every single flower is different.
Another comment that came in is, it states, I love this series because I've learned so much about different parts of the city by seeking out the blooms.
Thank you for that comment, and I'm so happy that you are able to seek out different spaces, and especially these green spaces. I think that is something that makes San Antonio so unique, all of the parks and trails and greenway systems, and that we can plant something, some sort of art sculpture to enhance that people can go find is fantastic to hear. Thank you.
Another comment that we received, it reads, I like the Thistle and Firewheel. As an artist, art teacher at Bradley and Garden Club sponsor, I can see how these would fit the style the artist has used for the other pieces and for incorporating bike parts in the designs.
Thank you for that. And I do want to elaborate a little bit more on that, on the bicycle parts, is that these flowers are creatively inspired to represent each of the flowers, but the way that they are created is from different bike parts. And so I think that your comment on that, on how the bike part could really be highlighted in a unique way in these flowers, is a great point to bring up. And so thank you for that and allowing me to touch on the bike parts a little bit more.
And that's the perfect segue for our next bit of feedback that came through, which is a question and a comment, which begins with, can you talk more about the inspiration for the bicycle parts? Also, fun fact, blue is the rarest flower color.
Oh, thank you. Maybe that's why there haven't been as many blue flowers if they are rare. So thank you for that fun fact. So yes, I can talk a little bit more about the bikes and the bicycle parts. So San Antonio artist Leticia Huerta, when she was out scoping the location for the project at Mud Creek, she said that the first thing that she noticed was the abundance of wildflowers in the area and how well the area and location was used and traveled by bicyclists. And she thought what a great and wonderful combination it could be to combine the two in a really fun and playful and whimsical way. Thank you.
Our next, I accidentally typed comment, but I meant to type the word question, so my apologies. But our next question is, what materials are used in these flowers? How are they made?
These are made out of different powder-coated steels. So it is created from a steel piece, and then they are powder-coated the different colors. Thank you.
Another comment we received from a community member was they would like to choose the Prairie Celestial as their first choice. That's their favorite.
Thank you for that comment. I think it is a very unique flower as well.
Another comment reads, I'm just happy our district is getting a bloom project. These flowers make everybody happy.
Thank you for that comment. Yes, it's very exciting that we are adding bloom to District 9. I'm so happy you feel that way, and I think it's really exciting to see how they are growing across the city.
The next comment up in the chat reads, I love this series. I'm so excited to see bloom finally coming to my district. Seems like it could be a lovely field trip for nearby Bradley middle school students too. I love how science and art, even math, could be combined and reflected through public art.
Thank you for that comment. And yes, I think that this location is very exciting and unique with the proximity of the school. And we have been in conversations with Bradley Middle School, and hopefully these flowers can inspire the next generation of young artists that attend there. And scientists. I think that was a great point too.
An additional comment that was, it was after the person mentioned that the Prairie Celestial was their favorite. They also shared that the Fire Wheel would be their second choice.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think that they are both very great and they would all look very harmonious together. Thank you.
I'm just keeping an eye on the chat box. It was so busy, and I'm making sure if anybody is typing any other thoughts. Nothing else has come in just yet. I think things are quieting down.
Great, thank you. If we could move on to slide 15, please. And Alyssa, if there's any comments that come in, if you wouldn't mind letting me know. But on slide 15, I just want to let everyone know that we do, in addition to this meeting, hope that you take our online survey. It can be found at the link in the chat and the link on this presentation. And this presentation and video recording will be made available after the meeting. The survey is also available in Spanish. Our survey did open yesterday on June 27th, and it will close on July 22nd. You are also welcome to email or call me to provide feedback, and feedback for that closes on July 22nd as well. Once the survey is closed, we will post a final report to our SA Speak Up portal by July 29th. And you as an attendee will receive a follow-up email with this information and more detailed instructions, including that survey link. We really hope that you fill that survey out and share your voice with us and select those flowers. And we thank you very much for joining us virtually tonight, and we look forward to hearing your input. Thank you so much.
I want to thank all of my neighbors from District 9 for taking the time to come out and listen and let us know which flowers you like. Whichever one comes up there, it'll be a great addition to Blossom Park. You know, we just put in a brand new restroom there. We're building a new walking trail. Having those blooms there will just add one more great amenity to our really wonderful neighborhood park. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.